Welcome dear rockards, how are you all? Today we bring you the story of the movie Whiteout. The film begins in the year 1957 in Antarctica. It was winter, a time when night lasts for 6 months in Antarctica. And during this, we have 6 hours left to reach the base. So to let's finish our work now. One of the co-pilots gets up, takes a bottle of liquor, and steps out of the pilot cabin. He sees that among his 3 companions, one is asleep, so he wakes him up. But suddenly he shoots at them, which wakes up the 3rd companion, and with the nearby gun, he randomly shooting in the chaos, causing a hole in the plane, and the plane starts losing balance. Before the plane crashes, they end up killing each other in the crossfire. And then the plane crashes into the ice cliffs and breaks apart. Essentially, there was a box in the airplane that the friends wanted to seize. What happened to somebody? The pilot wanted to seize the item inside, so they killed their own companions and ultimately died themselves. But now the question arises, what exactly was in that box? To find the answer to this question, you need to watch the video. The scene then shifts to the present at the US Scientific Research Facility in Antarctica. Right now, the temperature here is minus 55 degrees. Carrie, who works here, is called by the station manager, Sam. Calls her over and tells her something. Now, to relay this information, Carrie goes to the doctor, who is outside playing a game with some people in the cold, and she tells them, look, in 3 days, our plane is going to leave for our country because we have to get out of here, meaning it will remain dark here for 6 months, and no research work can be done in such cold. They were explaining this when suddenly Carrie comes and tells them that Delph, a pilot named Delph, saw a body at a location. So immediately, Carrie and the doctor go there with Delph. Friends, they find a strange body that looks as if it has fallen from a great height. Carrie recognizes him as someone who had worked with her a year ago, but he had come all the way here without any safety gear, like these kinds of questions come to mind. Now, they take the body to the base and thoroughly examine it, and then they notice a fresh scar on the leg of the body. It has been stitched hastily, and there are also signs of resistance on the chest, and no one has reported Wes missing yet, meaning his death is not a normal thing. Surely someone has I see someone who had a grudge against Wes. And now Carrie says, oh, Carrie says, I'll find the killer. Just then, the doctor say, okay, winter's starting in 2 days. Okay, you were going home for winter, right? What now? If you don't take that flight, then you will have to stay here for 6 months. Keep that in mind. Then Carrie says, no, I can't stay here for another 6 months. So the doctor says, okay, I have an idea. We can, Ruben and Monet all worked together and had stayed to observe the meteorite, but Wes was found far from his own camp. Now, down on the call, Mooney talks to Carrie and says, do one thing, come and meet in Vostok. Mooney doesn't agree, so Carrie starts getting ready to go to Vostok. The doctor asks, hey, where are you preparing to go? The snowstorm that was supposed to come is arriving 10 hours early. Carrie says, look, my trip to Vostok is very... She calls out to Mooney, but he doesn't respond. When she goes inside, Carrie finds Mooney injured, with someone having attacked his neck. And then someone attacks Carrie from behind, trying to take her life. To escape, Carrie rushes out of the camp and outside. A snowstorm was raging. And due to it, even nearby things were hard to see. In this storm, the killer had put on a helmet and other gear, making it impossible to identify who the killer actually was. She goes to the other camp and tries to open the door. Carrie was not wearing hand gloves, so her hands got stuck on the door handle for a while. When she forcibly tries to let go, her skin peels off. The skin on Carrie's hand peels off, but somehow she manages to make it to the other camp and shuts the door from the inside with great difficulty. But immediately after that, she faints and then has a disturbing scene from her past come to her in a dream. When Carrie wakes up disturbed, she sees Delphi in front of her. Delphi then comes Carrie and says, look, you were unconscious in the outer room, and I brought you here. How are you feeling? Then Carrie notices that Delphi has wrapped bandages on 2 of her fingers where the skin had peeled off. Carrie tells him, Moni is dead. Moni has been killed by a man covered from head to toe in warm clothes, so I couldn't identify him, but he must still be around here. I need to investigate thoroughly. Afterward, Carrie and Delphi together search the entire camp. They find a UN Special Investigation Officer named Price who is examining Mooney's body and has also learned about Wes's death. That's why Price has been specially sent here to investigate. Could you please tell me why the United Nations is interested in the death of a geologist? On this, Price says that this is not an ordinary murder. It's Antarctica's very first murder, and Mooney's murder is the second.
And we do not want to make this an international issue. Before the weather worsens again, we should head to Delta 1. Delta 1 was the workstation for Mooney, Wes, and Rubin. Upon going there and investigating the area, they find that
the cold there is intense. They reach the location, but there's nothing in sight except snow as far as the eye can see. Now, Pies and Delphi start saying to Carrie, you did see the correct map, right? There's nothing here. This place has been dug up, and whatever they found here was covered with snow to hide it. Suddenly, Carrie falls beneath the snow. Actually, there was a tunnel there, and in that tunnel, there were bloodstains. Friends, upon opening it, the three of them go inside, and upon seeing the Russian vodka, they realize that this plane is not from the United States. So friends, this is the same cargo plane from the year 1957 that we saw at the beginning of the movie. The people inside the plane killed each other by shooting themselves. Their bodies are still here. Seeing the situation, Carey, Telfie and Price realized that while the pilot was handling the controls, the co-pilot went back to kill their companions, and after a few shots, chaos ensued. After that, the plane got buried in snow, but the question arises of why they would fight among themselves. Just then, their eyes fall on a box with a broken lock, and there are fresh blood stains on it. Possibly. That's why Vas had stitches on his leg. Those people must have come to take whatever was inside the box. Who those people are, friends, will be revealed later. But here, it seems very strange to Carey that this isn't all. Hearing all this, why wasn't Price shocked? And when she confronts Price, he says that 2 days ago, someone contacted a weapons dealer from the hit list here, and the ones who made contact had obtained those 6 containers from this box. They had hidden materials used in the nuclear program. If they found nuclear material in this box, so it is about to fall into the wrong hands in the open market. As they are discussing this among themselves, they hear a loud noise. As they go to check the plane's gate to see what's happening outside, suddenly a heap of snow collapses onto the plane's. The tunnel has collapsed and the plane's door is locked by snow. So the question arises, how long can these 3 survive here? Because soon the oxygen here will also run out and it will take time to die from suffocation. So they will have to think even more cleverly about how to get out of here safely. On top of that, they have another problem. There's no phone network. Telfie says it seems we'll have to dig through this snow to get up, to which Carey responds, How will we dig through this snow? It must be 20 feet thick and no one even knows that we're trapped down here. So who will rescue us? No one is coming to rescue us. This causes Telfie to panic and he thinks he just wants to find a way to escape from here because his baby and daughter are waiting for him at home. Just then, his eyes fall upon the body of a Russian guard. And he says when he boarded the plane, would he have known that his death would occur here? Wasn't it? So now Carey gets an idea, and she says that when we found Vask's body, he wasn't wearing any warm clothes, and we didn't find any ice sacks near his body either. This could mean that with Vask being there, and it is also possible that the killer tried to kill him on the plane and threw him off the plane. Telfie also says, forget about what happened to him, let it be. Right now, we just need to think about how to escape from here. Just then, Price says there should be an emergency exit on this plane, and the emergency exit should have explosives attached. Setting it off would cause an explosion. But Telfie says, no, don't even think about doing that. If the blast doesn't go right, so much snow will come in through the emergency exit that the temperature will drop further, and then we'll die from the cold. Let's forget about it. If the snow crashes down on us, we'll die anyway. But Price thinks it's better to take the risk rather than wait for death. So somehow, he uses the satellite phone's battery to power and activate the blast. They successfully make it out of the emergency exit. A strong snowstorm is still raging outside. The 3 of them somehow manage to get into a vehicle, and Telfie tries to start it, but the vehicle also After this, the 3 of them go to the base. When Sam understands the whole situation, he talks to his seniors back home to arrange for a plane to be sent as soon as possible, so that all the employees here can return to their country because Sam, she wants to know about the killer. So she asks Sam that when they found Wes's body, it wasn't completely frozen, meaning Wes had been dead for at most 1 day. Therefore, I just need this information from the database. Who flew the plane in that area on that day? Sam says, we're all evacuating and within 20 minutes, everyone will be taking off from here. And what happened to your hand? Then Carey says that my Let's see. Her 2 fingers have become completely numb. When a needle is pricked into them, Carey doesn't feel any pain. So the doctor tells Carey that she needs to have these 2 fingers amputated. Otherwise, this infection could spread to your hand. The mention of having to amputate her fingers frightens Carey a lot, but having no other option, she has to agree with the doctor's decision. As the doctor amputates Carey's fingers, Price comes and says that the doctor told me about your fingers and it made me feel very bad. By the way, why don't you trust me? Why are you so tough with me? I work with you, right? Carey says, no, I just don't trust colleagues at all. Now Price wants to know what exactly happened with Carey. What problem led her to leave the US and come here? Then Carey starts talking about her past. And the scene shifts to the past. Carey says that she and her we were working on a case for months, and after an endless effort, we caught a drug dealer. I hadn't slept for so many days working on this case, so Jack handcuffed the dealer to the side of the bed and told me to take a short break. When I woke up, so the handcuffs were open, and the dealer was nowhere to be seen. Perhaps Jack had taken him to the washroom and they immediately returned. Then I went to the washroom to wash my face and suddenly the dealer... However, I wasn't true. He was telling our team on the call that the dealer had killed Carey and escaped. I was quite shocked to hear this because my partner was was doing this to me. Then he said that he got a lot of money for it. That wasn't enough, so he tried to shoot me with a gun, but I shot him first. Behind him was a glass window, and falling onto it, The scene then shifts to the present, and Kari becomes very emotional, explaining how her partner had deceived her. She wonders how she can't trust anyone after this case. It was after this case that she was made the marshal and sent to Antarctica. In the next scene, Kari goes out, Kari encounters Ruben, the third partner of West and Monica Teroni. Das city di Ahomedronge Aite. Mabiha po sige ahitin the double case, but he also wants to catch the main flight back to the US, so Kari confronts him. He tells her that all three of them went in search of meteorites, but the radar indicated something underground, and we caused an explosion in the ice. When they attempt to break the lock of that box, Wes completely injured his leg, so we called for help on the radio, and a pilot arrived to assist Wes. Now, at the man of football start friends, before Ruben could continue with his story, the doctor arrives while searching for Kari. Ruben sets us up and Ruben starts to run upon seeing the doctor and locks himself in a room. Since there is glass on the door, Kari can see him and says, "Look, we can calmly talk about everything. See, outside the room, someone opens the door, and Ruben also attacks. The also dies, accidentally causing both of them to fall outside the room. This is the same killer who had also killed Monique. And Eddie because the person was wearing warm clothes up to their head, Kari cannot figure out who it was during the fierce snowstorm still raging outside. But Ruben was pleading for his life. The killer shows no mercy and kills Ruben. Just then, Kari comes from behind and hits the killer with the shovel, knocking him unconscious. Kari and Bryce together take the killer inside and tie his hands. The killer's face is revealed. Is involved with anyone else. At that moment, Kari gets very angry with Harton because it was due to Harton that day that Kari lost the skin on her fingers and then had to have both her fingers amputated. So she tells Harton to open his mouth. Otherwise, she threatens to cut off all his fingers. Initially, Harton doesn't take her seriously, but when Kari draws blood from his finger, he gets scared and starts talking, saying that he had helped with Wes's leg. I was the one who took him for help and brought those 6 canisters to store them with the supplies in the West. Those canisters are still kept with my belongings Apollo Asa. So first, we lock Hutton in a room and then Kari was also says, okay. After that, she wants to check Hutton's belongings, and when she returns, she sees that Hutton has freed himself and escaped. So Kari grabs her gun and goes out to search for Hutton. In the room, he sees Delphi, who is also in an injured state. At that moment, Price also arrives there. Here, Kari starts doubting Price again, but he pleads, please believe me. I went to find the doctor to help Delphi. Kari calls the doctor, but Sam also calls and gently tells Kari to come to the plane. Kari explains the whole situation to him, and Sam says, "Listen to me carefully. Listen, yes, if we leave now, if you say, you will have to stay here for 6 months." Kari says, "Yes, I understand, but I can't leave Delphi here." A little later, the plane takes off for the US, and here, but Kari, Delphi, the doctor, and perhaps Hardin remain. But Kari notices that Hardin has taken the keys to his plane and run away, meaning he wants to escape in his plane before the storm arrives. But Hardin wasn't there. Actually, Hakutar, he wanted to lock Kari and Pest outside the base. Meanwhile, a fierce storm was raging, making visibility poor. Fortunately, there was a rope. During a blizzard, at 30 people actually attach their belts to the ropes to avoid being blown away. And using those ropes, Kari and Pace search for Hardin. The two of them get separated in this severe snowstorm, where it's extremely difficult to even manage themselves. In such a situation, they keep moving forward while fighting. But then, friends, Kari spots Hardin. She fights with him. Hardin comes with an ice axe and tries to attack Kari. However, Kari somehow manages to save herself, and Price comes from behind and attacks Hardin, which means he gets swept away with the storm, indicating that this icy storm will swallow Han somewhere. Just like you quite call tight, that's how it all ends for him. After that, Price breaks the lock of a building and goes inside, taking Kari with him. They lock the door from the inside, and there they find the checked canisters. Kari immediately opens them. Though it might have buzzed, Kari doesn't agree. And she opens the canisters, but she is completely shocked because she finds fruit candies inside, meaning the real contents inside have already been taken out by someone. So, both Kari and Price become very disappointed by this. After that, they go to the doctor and Delphi. Kari calls Sam to ask for the data on what was loaded onto the plane. Then Kari goes to the computer room and they were loaded onto the plane, so Kari goes alone to the science building. She checks the tags on the items there and opens the packs to see there. She then unwraps the bandage from her hand and notices the stitches on her fingers. And the fact is that the style of the stitches is exactly the same again. Meaning Hardin's partner is none other than Sam, because Hardin took Wise to the doctor for treatment, or perhaps he called the doctor somewhere. After that, the doctor and Hardin decided that they would take the contents of the canisters for themselves, and they kill Wes, and no one will know about it. And perhaps their plan was that with Wes, Mooney and Ruben would think that we treated Wes and sent him to the US base. One thing is, the doctor had said that we would send Wes's body to the US by plane. It was a pass. But why didn't they send it? Thinking about all these things, Kari thoroughly examines Vass's body and notices stitches on Vass's abdomen. Friends, the stitches weren't there before, which means the doctor has stitched it recently. When Kari cuts those stitches and the doctor arrives just then, realizing his secret is out. He tells Kari that these are raw diamonds, whose true beauty emerges only after being cut. Besides, for 50 years, these these diamonds have been beneath the ice. Tell me, Sachin, Talak, Tahinti, they didn't care about them. I have worked for my country for so many years. I didn't even marry. Seeing these diamonds, I thought I would sell them and enjoy my retirement. So what's wrong with that? Whom did I harm by doing this? Because of these diamonds, so many lives were lost. And I even lost my finger. I was your friend, right? Anyway, forget it. There's no point in discussing all this. I just need to arrest you, doctor. The doctor says, oh, I know you won't give up until you arrest me. And you must have heard that during this time, the lights at the South Pole are put or ki haukken dalkai. I want to see it one last time. After that, the doctor opens the door without any safety and goes out into the storm to see the South Pole lights and vanishes forever in the snow of Antarctica. Agata. How many lives were lost because of them? And they were after the diamonds. After maintaining the honor of being a doctor for so many years, now they didn't want to face prison. So many lives were lost because of them, and they were chasing after diamonds. They preferred to embrace the icy storm than face the consequences. At the end of the film, we see Kerry, Delphi, and Price spending 4 months at the base. And friends, with this, the movie comes to an end. See you again in the next